What's up, guys? So don't worry, I'm just checking our stuff, making sure that stream is working as should. So right now, this let's see, Twitch is work. Yeah, Twitch is fine. Yeah, I guess Twitch is fine. YouTube is okay. I think it's remaining LinkedIn. Yeah, I think that my LinkedIn is okay too. So I will kind of like start today's stream by addressing some issues that we encountered the last stream we did. So which is basically adding a user credit card to the app, saving the details in our app, which I kind of like needed. I did a research later on and figured out that so kind of like I had someone updated me. He was like so there's a better way to do this than actually going through the means of storing this on the phone. So, so yeah, I kind of like followed up with the research on my own, and I found out that yeah, so actually storing the user credit card, which is kind of like a sensitive data, um, is a data that should be protected, and there are some regulations to that, which one of them is PCI regulations for all this financial stuff. So went through this website and read through the documentation. Yeah, PCI compliances, which should be this. Let's just open up. And so you can actually go through it. If you head over to the last stream that we did under the comment section, so I pinned something there, so you should go through over those stuff. And yeah, so it's not advisable to save your user's credit card details, even if it's encrypted, because currently at the moment we are using an encrypted database. So we are using Hive to encrypt the users payment details and all those stuff, which is actually secure, right? We are encrypting it and storing it in a database, but that's not advisable because some stuff can go wrong with the user's mobile phone. Let's say, for example, something like jailbreaking and jailbreaking of the phone and other security stuff can happen on the phone, since Hive is kind of like storing those stuff in the on the file. So that will create an issue whereby maybe the malicious user can have access to the user's encrypted information and kind of like also the encrypted key and the key, and also kind of like be able to decrypt it and misuse the users payments info and all those stuff. So that's the issue with that. And how do we solve that? Not that we are going to actually remove our UI or discredit our app functionality or something like that we are going through with. But the thing is that we are going to still go through with this, but we need to implement some security features, uh, which we are not going to implement that by ourselves. So one way we could do that is to use Stripe. So you could use Stripe to solve that issue. Like I also added Stripe stuff here, so we could use Stripe to solve that issue. But before you can go through with Stripe, it's very good to go through this documentation here about PCI compliances and then understand why this is actually needed. So either we use Stripe for saving the user's payment details and all those stuff, or we can actually make use of MasterCard. So MasterCard also has services that can actually help us to save the users payment details and query the users payment details from their own side. So they will handle the security part of the whole stuff, and yeah, so they will handle the security part of those stuff, and what we need to do is just be able to query their back end or something like that and get hold of maybe a token, or yeah, a token or something like that, and represent the user's payment card. So yeah, that's it. So you can actually make use of MasterCard API. So this is the API, the back end API documentation. You can go through it and read through it and see how to handle that. But I will be making use of Stripe, which is kind of like more straightforward and makes sense on what we want to do, since we want to kind of like also implement payments, handling of payments, and a whole lot of stuff from the user. So it's kind of like good to go through with not Mastercard, Stripe, like I said, and that's what we'll be doing now. So let's go ahead and start with that. So right here, let me see. Yeah, so if you want to start off with Stripe, I also included some documentation. You can actually go through the link I added here to know more about Stripe, development for payments and card details. So yeah, close this one. So I could actually leave that. We'll be dealing with Stripe. So first of all, you need to create a Stripe account, which I already did. I already created a Stripe account, and once you create your Stripe account, give me a moment. So let me just something about. So you could actually create a Stripe account by going straight to this page, and then try what. Let me put this outside a bit. Yeah, so at this end, so just create an account by tapping on this. So if you tap on this, it will actually take you to a place where you kind of like register and all those and follow through their instructions. And so it's kind of pretty straightforward and easy to do. So there's nothing much there. And once you are done with that, next thing will be to head over to your dashboard. Once you have done creating the account, so on your dashboard you have this provisionable key and your secret key, which is these two. You have to secure both of them. Most important one is the secret key, which we definitely need to secure more. But both of them need to be secured. You don't need someone to have access to them. And once you do that, you can just copy both of them out and use them in your development environment, but you need to still secure them in your development environment. So this is my dashboard. Yeah, so far I already been able to create a new customer, so I was kind of doing some testing on my own. Next, if you want to go to production, you could just click continue to activate your account to be used in production environment, because currently we are using the test data. We are in the test mode. You need to activate this to be on the production mode. Yeah, that's it. So let me see what we need to do here. Yeah, we have all this right here right now. So the next stuff we need to do is basically be able to go ahead and start using Stripe on our own side. And one way to include Stripe into our app is to add this package. So there's a flutter package for Stripe development. I'm going to get that. So we have to open up to pub.dev. So inside the pub.dev, get access to this. Get access to this stuff right here. And type flutter Stripe. Yeah, flutter Stripe. And here is the flutter Stripe we are looking for. And open that. So we already have Stripe SDK for web development. So if you're trying to get your platform to work on web, so you can actually make use of this one. And this one is just for mobile development. So open that. And here is the package that we need to install in our app. And once you install that, just need to go through some development configurations right there. So but let's follow around and do this. So first of all, the installation, copy this and head over to your app terminal. And I prefer you just stop your app from running to kind of be able to fix all this stuff before you start it up again. So once you head over there, go ahead and save this. Not save, but just put the code here and then run it by tapping the enter key, and this will basically go ahead and install Stripe package into our app. So once that is still running, we could just head over here and see other changes we need to do. And the one change you need to do is basically make sure that your use constraint version is 1.50, your constraint version is 1.50 and above. And again, you can make use of theme.app compact for your activity. So to do the just head over to here. Okay, it's not found. So that one will be, let's see the documentation for that. So head over to your values folder in your Android folder and make changes to the style.xml by actually just fixing the stuff there. That will be basically, let's do that. So over here, so our package is done installing. Head over to the Android folder, and here is our app folder. Inside the source directory, open the main directory and response folder. Under there, go to the values folder. Let me see which one we have to deal with. So open this back up again. Yeah, so we need to deal with values nights. Okay, and there is a change we need to make there. What if we don't want to deal with night mode? This is not showing up. But let's kind of fix the night mode first. So just copy this out. I'm going to copy this. Values nights styles.xml. We are having normal theme, parent, Android style theme, black dot no title bar. So we need to change that to actually be what we just copied over. Yeah, so that should be theme name normal theme, parents, theme the material components. So that's what we're using for this. If we actually like commenting this one out, so I will know that if there's any issue complication, I'll know that this is where it started. I know how to fix that. So create a new style over here and then go ahead and change this. Yeah, so that's it. Save that. Make sure you save the changes. And next is just to add the next stuff. So we already added this. So Android color background, I think that's already there. So yeah, Android color background. So go back, and next stuff we need to do is to make sure that we are using up-to-date Android Gradle build tools version and up-to-date Android Gradle version accordingly. So next will be to open it. So make sure you are using your version is up to this date, but I already know that my version is up to that date because I'm using the latest flutter development tool, so I don't need to touch this or check it. I already know it's up to that. Next, but if you want to check it, basically head over to Android folder, build.gradle, and to do that, just open this up, close this, close this, close this, close this. So this is Android folder, and these are main build.gradle, and you can check the version. So the Kotlin, let's see. So control version dependencies, we have parts com.tools.build gradle 7.1.2. Yeah, so this is it. And you can see that, like I said, it's up to date. I already know it should be up to date. And that's another change we need to make here is to head over. Just close this off. I don't need it. Head over to our flutter fragment activity, which is found in main activity.kt, which is Kotlin file, our main activity Kotlin file. So that's where we need to make another changes. So I'm going to go ahead and copy. You can actually go ahead and copy all this from here to this end, or just basically copy this and then head over to your VS Code and open up, then build.gradle. Not build.gradle, I mean source directory main and under constraint. So this is where you find this, and then make change to this by adding another import statement that import flutter fragments activity, and then change this, copy that over, head over here, just replace this that we have here with what I just copied over, just paste that right there, save it, and yeah, everything is saved. I don't think we have any issues anymore. And once that is saved, and we are sure that that's actually saved, like I say, it's already saved, then we could just exit from here. We are done with the changes for Android. Close the folder up. Let's see what else we need to make changes to. So looking at this right now, so our iOS, the only change we need to check against our iOS version, make sure it's 12.0 and above. So I think that's it. Yeah, so let's make sure it changes. So head over to our Android, not Android, our iOS. So open our File Explorer, our Finder. So File Explorer for Windows, right? Yeah, Windows is called File Explorer. For Mac is called Finder. So head over here, actually where I do my development. So that's footer. So our project we are looking for is basically under startup, not this one. Okay, yeah, mental health app. So there's a project we are looking for. Let's open that. Open the iOS folder, and then open this file, SC workspace file. Just open that up, and we can just make some changes there, which will be just a few minor changes, basically making sure that this is up to 12.0, which is it, and then check that this is actually 12.0. Yeah, everything is correct. So go ahead and close that off. Hit. Okay, close this. I think we are good to go. So we already made the changes that we need to make. And we could go ahead and start making use of Stripe in our app. And the first stuff we could actually do is that for us to start using this, we need to create a backend. So you need to create a backend because your app needs to talk through backend and also through Stripe package. It can't just talk only through Stripe package. It needs to communicate with the backend and also Stripe package functions that will help us to achieve other stuff we need to achieve. One way to do that, is to so creating your back end is kind of like a tedious job to do for someone who's not familiar with back end development. So for me, it's easier for me because I also do back end developments on my own, and I've also worked on back end projects with clients. So, and even if you kind of familiar with back end development, so it's kind of like still a tedious job to set up a back end, start creating all these and API endpoint, the REST APIs, and if you're using GraphQL schemas and all those stuff. So the development setup is kind of like pretty tedious. So one way to actually make it easier is to make use of what I call on this platform is called Glitch. So you can make use of Glitch platform. Yeah. So Glitch will actually help you to set up a back-end development pretty fast and get it to host. You don't need to think about the hosting or the URL or those hosting domain name, all those stuff. Just it sets everything up for you, and that's all. I think if you want to make your backend kind of like private, you just need to actually be able to use the pricing portion. Why is it not opening? Yeah, so we have the free version, which you can actually do the whole thing. But if you want your project to be private, you actually have to make it pro version, which is paid $8 per month, billed annually. So that should be $8, 8 times 12. I'm not good with mathematics. I need to use my calculator here. So we have 8 times 12 will give us 96. So that's $96 per year, which is still good. So not that much. So you can actually make use of that and get your back-end development stuff there. But there's plenty ways, plenty stuff that can actually help you to achieve all those stuff. Guys, excuse me, let me see, shake something out. So there, yeah, let's continue. So that is it. So you can actually use this platform, which shall be using for this production this app we are building. So let me just log in. Just log in with my Google account. That's with this one, I think so. And the good thing about it is that you can actually remix someone's project, so you don't need to create your own back end or something like that. So you could print a lot of back end template for what you need to do, and just remix it. It becomes your own. So that's basically what I did here. I remixed someone's back end and started adding my own functionality to it. So I will show you guys. So here is it. So this is my backend app, hosted on Glitch. Did I pronounce that well? So Glitch, yeah. So yeah, this is the backend starting point. So kind of like most of the code here are mine. So I use this particular backend for doing it, whatever I'm doing. So if you look over, you see that I already started adding some functionality for Stripe stuff. So this all stuff here for Stripe. You can see Stripe Pay endpoint method. So there's the API for that. And so for Stripe Pay and method intent, and then create customer endpoint, create payment intent. So for Stripe, so all this stuff have been added here by me. So all those code have been added here, and we will continue modifying, adding more code here as our backend for this app development. You could still get access to this on this. You can still get access to this backend on this app and start using it. So first of all, creating the backend, like I said. So if you get access to this and remix this, so you need to actually install Stripe. I think Stripe is already installed there. You don't need to install that. So I installed Stripe on my own. So but if you get access to it, you still don't need to install Stripe because I already installed that. And then you install Stripe, then you use your Stripe secret key, which is from here, and that's kind of stored in my .m file, my .m file, which if you get access, you won't get access to this secret key. So the secret key is basically mine, and this is not the complete secret key, so that's why I'm able to show it here. So even if you get access to this, copy this is not a complete secret key, it still goes beyond this. So just add this and add the key, which is this. The name will be Stripe, and the value is the secret key from Stripe, which we added here. So just copy that, copy the name, and then head over here and use that here as process.environment.stripe to get access to it, and that will basically be stored inside a Stripe object that we created here. And then we could use that Stripe object for whatever we want to do. So let's say we want to, so I created an endpoint that will make, let's say we want to make a payment. So this is the endpoint to making a payment to Stripe, and we don't need to go through that for now because that is not part of the project that we are working with. So the one we need to go through is creating a customer. So there is one for creating our card here. So we want in a process that whenever the user wants to add a new card, right here, so we want to be able to create what I called a customer. So you create a customer object, right? So the customer object, like I said, is going to kind of like be for that particular the particular user that is using your app to create that credit, to create their card, to create their card on your app, their new card. So once they kind of like create, apply here to save the card. So what we want to do, the scenario we want to play here, or the infrastructure we want to create here, is basically saying, is basically like they click on this button to add their card. So we send that statement, the whole card details that has how to do that, send that back to Stripe, and Stripe will return the user's details and all those stuff. And inside there we can see the last digit of their payments, their credit card, the last 3 digits, we could see that. No, the last 4 digits, we could see that. And then we will use that to actually achieve what we have here. So that should be Figma. So I'm going to open the Figma file to show you guys what I'm trying to do. Sorry guys, I'm trying to check on some stuff. I'm having some issues with my audio stuff. Come on. Okay, I think that's fixed. So, what we want to achieve is basically at the payment section, which should be the card page, is basically, so once the user be able to save, they add their new card, we send those details to Stripe, and Stripe will send us back a response that will contain the type of the card and the last 4 digits. So we could able to show it right here. And then once the user taps on the added card, they can only be able to delete the card and not modify it. So you can already add a new card and delete the card, no updating the card or something like that. Maybe you can do that later on in the future, but for now, just delete the card and add a card. So let's start with that. So first of all, this is our backend for creating a user. I'm going to create a customer, all right? For the customer that we're going to create, so we want to be able to get access to the customer's data and be able to create all those stuff right here. So basically we create the customer description of the customer, the email of the customer, the name of the customer that we're trying to create. Let's see what else we need to create about the customer. So once we create a customer, that's a separate API for creating a customer. Then we have another API to actually update the card, user card details. And if there's an issue, we can actually tell the user there's an issue with updating their card details. So for now, let's kind of like have this API to actually create a customer first. So I'm going to so we already created the API. So what we need to do is to add a functionality in our backend profile mail controller right here. So this card section, I'm going to call this create Stripe customer. And one stuff we didn't talk about is that since we will be actually creating a Stripe customer here, right? So we'll be creating we'll be using our own field custom field for getting the user's card number, card name, and CVV or CVC stuff. So we need to actually comply to SAC A compliance. So that will be found right here. So there's a compliance that Stripe needs us to comply to. So let me so this is what I'm talking about. So we need to comply to this. So we say we are trying to use mobile SDK. That's what we are using, flutter SDK. Since we're using mobile SDK, so and right down here there's where they specify, so they say if your application is intended for your customers to enter their information on their own devices, to enter their information on their own devices. So they're entering the information on their own devices, not on my own devices. So in that case, we already need to comply to SAC A, understand? And that's the easiest compliance we need to comply to. But if we are trying to get the user to put their card payment and all those stuff using point to sell, or maybe the user has to input it on my own mobile phone or something like that before they can be used to use the app. So that's kind of like we need a lot of compliance to do a whole lot of stuff. We go in on that end. So we are not trying to do that just so we can actually comply to this one. Is the more easiest one. So for that, have that in mind, that you need to check this and be able to know what you have to do before doing any payment stuff. So with that being said, head over here. So we call this create Stripe payments. So creating a Stripe payment here, we need to make access to HTTP. So we have to make HTTP calls. So there we go. So I'm going to say maybe a fusion. So a fusion of type map. Basically we are talking about JSON kind of data type, which is still a map. We say string. So it's a string value pair. So the value can be dynamic. So just set it to dynamic. Yeah, dynamic data type, and then it will private to us, so we're not calling it anywhere. So I'm going to say create Stripe customer. So that will be the function that we're going to call, a private function, and it's going to require get hold of the customer email, phone number, all those stuff. So we're not going to access it from here. We don't want anybody to. We don't want to add that from the function params signature, but we could actually get hold of that user's details we are talking about from our auth controller. So in there, inside our auth controller, remember we have so inside our auth controller, why is not taking me there? Come on. So yeah, here's our auth controller. So we have access to Firebase user, but that's not the one we want to use. So we want to make use of Firestore user. So that's the one we want to make use of. So from this user model, we can actually get hold of the user details like emails, all those stuff if they have it. That's all. So we could just make access to that. So let's say we could actually have access to that. Let's like I said, next thing will be to head over to that function we created down below here. So the function, here's the function, and we have a URL. So I'm going to copy this and remove this from now. I'm going to be using that. So I'm going to create a final variable. I'm going to call that URL. URL will be equals to let's say URL. So create a URL object, then dot pass. So pass this and create a new URL from that. And we are going to open our .m file, because I know we have a .m file which we have been using. Instead of a .m file, I'm going to basically go ahead and add a new, say, a new URLs that we want to keep secret. So I'm going to say, name this to be something like, I'm going to say API create customer URL. So API start with Stripe, something with Stripe. That was the correct spelling. So Stripe API create create customer URL. And we can set that to be equals to our backend URL, which is combination of this. So remember, our backend is a server combination of this URL here and then this particular endpoint in our backend. So I'm going to copy that. I already have that created somewhere. I'm going to copy that over. So this URL to our server all the way to this end from Bridge. Then the last is the endpoint in our backend that we want to get hold of or want to reach. So the endpoint is called create customer. I'm going to save this, and again, so we actually ask. So you can actually access our .env like this. Basically saying, yeah, okay, .env. So the environment variable that we want to get hold of, have that, and then move right here. So I'm going to say URL. So this URL we want to pass, and the environment variable is basically this. So there we go. And then go ahead and import this. Yeah, so that's all we need. So go ahead and import that. So we're able to create a URL from that .env variable. And once we are done with that, so let's go ahead and start doing all that stuff. So I'm going to say make an HTTP request. So create final. I'm going to call that a response. Final response. That's equals to await. So http.post, but we need to add this. So we're going to copy our HTTP package that we already added before. I think we added that. Can import that here. So yeah, the HTTP package, and we cannot access it as HTTP. And once we, what happened? Yeah, so once we access that, so we're going to make a post request to that, and we pass in the URL. The header is going to be, so remove this authorization. So the content type is going to be application.json. So that's the content type we're sending over. And then we have the body of our HTTP request is going to be JSON. So our body JSON.encode, right? So we are encoding the email, the user email, and the user. So we are not creating the user source at the moment. just basically create a user, and then later we create the source for adding the credit card and all those stuff. So I'm going to just first of all, so we say email like we have here, and then after that remove this. So you can actually look at our backend and see how to model this. So our backend is a something called description and email. So just copy both all those stuff out. So we just make sure that that resembles a JSON. Yeah, so we have a description, we have an email, and we have the name of the user. So there's other stuff we could actually add, other stuff that ranges from I think you can actually add the user's phone number if you need to, and whatever so let me check that out because I know there's a whole lot of stuff we could actually add there. So for now, let's just leave it to name and actually care full name, email, and description. So I'm going to say over here. So we have name description will basically be new. Is it new? I'll just say customer, normal customer. So this will be a normal customer. And next will be email. The email of the customer will be coming from our Firestore. So auth controller, have your auth controller. So Firestore user, like we checked previously. So we have access to that. So we have something called Firestore user, which is the user mode, the model of our user. Since we already have access to that here, so it's called Firestore user. So you could call this get user and then access whatever that's inside it. So I'm going to say get user dot the email. So this is optional. Optionally access that. If that is empty, just pass in an empty string, and then we have the name of the customer. We cannot access it this way. If it's empty, passing an empty string, and that's all. Once we get hold of all this stuff here, then we could just so once this is sent, we could check if our response is true. So if our response is true, we could just go ahead and send that out. But if our response is not true, then we could actually send an error message. So what if instead of doing this way, we could actually wrap the whole stuff with a try catch. Just try. So right here, so we have all this stuff here, and then below here, say if response is true, yeah, could say create another final variable. could name the L to be body, and that will be equals to json.decode. So json.decode response.body, and once that is decoded, I could just have access to the body, and I could just check to see if there's an error property inside it. We could actually do that. Yeah, so if there's an error property, we could just create an exception and show there's an error right here. Just for now, just print it for now. Let's print the error for now, and then if there's none, so that means this actually went through. So we created a body and decoded the JSON response, and then we could just go ahead and remove this and then start making use of that. Either we return it to the user, or we could just do whatever we want to do with it. But since our function has a return statement, so we basically have to return that. So I will just say return body, and that's all. So that's all we need to do. So just return the whole stuff back again. And yeah, so next we need to create something that we call this function to create a user. Once the user type kind of like taps over here to create a credit card and all those stuff. So we created this to create a customer. So we need to create another one to actually create a credit card. We'll go call that. Wait. Right in here. So I'm gonna say, let's try a function that will actually help us to do that. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to look through some stuff. So I think I had the documentation on how to actually be able to create a credit card after we cannot be able to create a customer, which this we actually added this right now. But there are some changes we need to do. So over here for this one, since we are going to receive something from the clients, and the client is basically going to send a JSON in this format that contains a description, email, and name. So we could actually spread our JSON response here. So I can just say constant. Since this is an object, I'm going to say is equals to response, not response but request. So it will be under request. So request.body. So inside our request.body, so we get access to description. Let's call that the script. And next we get access to the email. And next we get access to the name. That's all. So we could just use that in place of whatever we have here. Let's call that the script. Yeah, that's it. And let's get access to the email. Add the email property here. And finally the name. So there we go. So this one is fixed. So next stuff will be how do we submit the card details. Yeah, basically create the card details and all the stuff on our Stripe backend. Okay, so yeah, one way to do that. So because Stripe has a card object that we could actually get access to. So there's an object called card details from Stripe, and we could actually initialize that inside another function. We're going to call here to say create Stripe credit card. So inside create Stripe credit card, this one will basically return still return, let's say, yeah, it will return a response to us, right? I'm trying to think what that will actually do. Let's see. So we need to create a customer, which we have the function to create a customer first, because we need to create the customer that will have the credit card. So once we created the customer, so we need to actually create the credit card, the debit card for that customer, which is this, right? Okay, yeah. So that will actually return a feature of type map, and the map type will basically be string value pair, string that dynamic, and that will be create Stripe credit card. Make this to be asynchronous, and since this is asynchronous, I'm going to create a new card details object, card details. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, so the card details, we have it's optional that's called a number, expiration year, expiration months, and then we have a string that's called CVV. So first of all, we could get access to this whole stuff by saying, okay, card number. So this whole stuff will be done here, if I'm correct. Okay, so I have card number controller.test. That's for the card number, and the expiration date. So the expiration date controller should be this one we have here. It should be a test, but we won't add that directly here because they need expiration month and expiration year. So we add this, and we're going to do split on it, and we're going to split by this pattern. So the pattern will be this. Yeah. Dot first. If we split it and we access the first one, so the first one should be the month, and we are going to cast it to be an int. And the next we are going to do is to actually split it again and get a second one. That's for the year. Split this, then the second. So the last, so yeah, there's a last parameter. So the last one, which should be the year, get access to that. So I'm going to say expiration month. So you have the expiration months. Next we need to add is expiration year, which should this we have here. So get access, add that, and the next should be the CVV value, which you could get access to by saying CVV controller test. Yeah, I think that's it. So create the card details here, and we're going to call a stripe function that's going to help us to update the card details. Basically gonna see how they say stripe dot instance dot dangerously update card details, and we can pass the card details to it. So see what I said, validating PCI compliances. So make sure you are not logging or storing full card details. So we are not logging or storing any full card details. So we just basically pass it directly to Stripe using that function. Yeah, so I'm gonna await the back, so to await on this, and once we do that, so yeah, so we now can be able to make a payment. this. So we have this URL that could actually help us to create the card, but I'm trying to look at it and see how we could actually make use of that properly. So we have create card, we have the source that's required. So it needs a customer ID. So when you call this URL, we need to pass in a customer ID to it, right? Let me see. First of all, let's try this out first. Let's remove this functionality right here, this hive functionality. So comment this out, and then the card model that we created. So I'm going to comment that out, and right over here I'm going to call create Stripe customer. So this is going to return a response to us. I'm going to say send that to be less. So, okay, go ahead and print that out. Okay, next we could actually go ahead and call this one too. See how that works so far. So there we go. Let me see if there's something else we need to do right here. So okay, add new card, which we already have here, and the function has already been added inside the card screen. So add new card screen. Run with debugging. So yeah. we're waiting for this to actually build on our simulator, then we could proceed with the next stuff. I don't know why this is taking time to build. Come on. You didn't build. Okay. So let's try running this from our S code. Yes, sorry for the delay. So what is causing the issue right now is that our app is kind of having hard time trying to build. I don't know why that is happening. So I'm trying to see if I can fix the issue through VS not VS Code by S but S Code. So I'm trying to build it out from S Code and see if it could build. But if it builds from S Code, then we know that we'll have a chance to try it again with VS Code. So that's basically what we're doing here, but it's taking time. So hopefully let the build kind of like completes within few moments. Yeah, then we can go ahead and start implementing what we are doing. I think we will. That's while that is still going. So we could actually get over to our server. So open up our server. So here's our server, and we're going to implement this to pay create customers source. So how to do that will be basically saying copy this, right? Level 6 to that, and head over to our server. So this is our server. I'm going to, okay, I have a whole lot of copying to do now, so just copy this, and under here I'm going to create this a new access points, API points, and I'm going to say create customer card. So that would be it. So create the customer card will be the access point. So app.post create dash customer dash card. So that will be the access point. And remember what we copied before, so I'm going to copy that back again. So just copy this again. Come on, what did I do? Yeah, so back to the server, and we are going to paste this, and basically we are going to say sure, we could just say okay, yeah, put this inside a try cache. So try this, and once there's an error, go ahead and cache the error for us. Find the error, get hold of the error, and there we go. So inside our try cache, just paste the code we copied previously, and right here I'm going to say customers create source, but we need to get hold of this customer that we want to create this card source for, and the source is going to be either Visa or MasterCard, or depending on our card type. Remember, we have access to card type here. So the source, we could just say Visa or anything, or so yeah, so we could just say just go back. So the source, I'm just going to hard code something. You just call that card. So yeah, just card. And after that, so there's a whole lot of stuff we need to start adding. So we added a source. We need to add the source, which we have to add a number. We have to add expiration dates, and let me see. So the source are going to have a number, so we just add a number in there. Inside the number, we're going to pass the card number from our front end, and also we need to add so we have the number, we have the expiration months, so I have the expiration months, Okay, and next we're going to have the expiration date of the source. Let's see, so expiration year, like that. And next we're going to have expiration with that. So we have the CVC, and that should be it. So I think that's good to go. We already added the main stuff, so the CVC, expiration year, month, number, and yeah, that's all. Okay, so I think, yeah, so you could pass this, and I could say we could get hold of that from constant, say, which is equals to request that's been made to the server body, body, and in there inside the request we get hold of the something called number. So it will be in this sequence. So number, expiration month, yeah, comma, expiration year, comma, and then CVC, and then I could pass that in here. So I could just say number, expiration day, month, expiration year, and then last but not the least will be basically CVC. I think that's all. Okay, I think that's it for the back end. So right now we have to kind of tackle the front end. So for the error, we can, okay, so once this is created, let's make sure we're not forgetting anything. Yeah, tidy up this. So basically return a response with a status of 200, and yeah, response with a status of 200 or send card details. That's it. And after that, so if there's an error, basically send back the error to the client that's accessing the backend. I think that's simple stuff we could actually do here. Yeah, so head back here, and we see our app is running now, but we are running that through Xcode. So we are going to disable Xcode and head back to VS Code to run it from VS Code. Let's see. Yeah, CVC optional object. Okay. So there's a parameter that has been needed. So parameters, And the customer ID, forgot something. So the customer ID should also be dynamic changed. We could actually access that. Let's say that should be the first thing we're going to access. So I will come out here. I'm going to call that customer ID, and then basically use that in place of this hard-coded URL string that we have here. That's good. Yeah. Once we have hold of that, and we could just copy the endpoint. So this is still running. Come on. So this is strange. Don't know why it's kind of like taking time to build. can waste most of our time trying to get this to build. I've ever tried some stuff to actually get it to build, but it's having an issue with concurrent builds, and I'm not having any concurrent builds running on my system. I'm just running from this VS Code instance here, but still complaining about concurrent builds, and yeah, but and I think that's the reason why it's taking time. Over here, my VS Code. So it's kind of like I can actually easily run it from VS Code, but that's not what we want to do. So because we want to be kind of like testing at the same time and debugging, and you can't do that from VS Code. So I say VS Code, you can't do that from S Code, unless you kind of like continuous kind of like building it. Whenever you make changes on VS Code, you come over here and build it again. Which we kind of like we take our time and want to look good. So I'm trying to be able to force it to actually run with VS Code and not with S Code. But it looks like we need to work with S Code this time around. So VS Code. Now that we got this to work, come on. After many hours or so, so let's head back to this payment screen right here. So once we head on create Stripe customer card, and we're getting hold of the card details, we need to make another call to create a card by just saying, let's say, okay, let's use this. Basically copy the same stuff we have here. Okay, so let's copy the cache path audio from here and then stop here. I think we are good to go, but not yet. So next stuff, we need to create a URL, change our URL over here. So I'm going to create a new URL that is going to point to create customer's card. I'm going to call that stripe create plan URL. No, so that will be stripe create card URL. And then the endpoints will be basically this endpoint we have here. Yeah, create customer's card. Just use that right here. I think that's what we need to do. I could just head over and start using this. Okay, in here. Okay, yeah, so change this to the new URL. Stripe create card URL. That's it. And we created a response, body response. We need to return that body response. And let's see. Okay. And we need to send back the body. So the body we are going to send has to look something similar in this form. So it has to have a customer ID, number, expiring months, expiring year, and CVC. So we need to create that here. So I'm going to say the customer ID. We need to get that from this. After calling this, stripe create customer, which we need to call that somewhere. Let's say somewhere here. Or we could just pass a parameter somewhere that's we call that required. Require string customer for that customer ID. And next, so the customer ID, we are going to copy that as a response, because our response, like I said, our response has to be in this form. Copy that. And then the next one is going to be the customer ID. Yeah, passing like that. So the number is going to pass that, and the expiring date. So the expiring date and the number, that's how we're going to pass that. Okay, so first we start with the number. Remember how we did that? Just copy this. Use that in place of what we have here. And next will be the expiring month. So we got the expiring month through this way, where we split the details and got the first one, which should be the expiring month. So there we go. And the last will be the expiring year. Expiring year. And okay, we get the CVC controller for the CVC. I think that's it. We are good to go. Just what we need to pass in is the customer card, and we are good to go. So I'm going to call this, and then this function is going to return the customer ID for us that we're going to use. So both of them are being called here. So this is called create stripe customer. I'm going to create another final variable which we're going to assign. So we're going to call this card res, which is equals to this. wait on that. And it requires a parameter, so we call the customer ID. And how do we get hold of the customer ID? Because this is going to return a response in the form of map. And how do we access a map? Because this response is going to be in this form. Come on, where is it again? So it returns a customer. Seconds, let me get hold of how that should look like. Okay, yeah, so I got that. I'm going to copy that over here so you guys will see that. So over here in this documentation, so this is the documentation I'll be using. So this is the documentation I'll be using, and inside this documentation we have create customer, and yeah, the customer we're going to create. So once you create a customer, the response is going to have something called ID, which is the customer ID. So I'm going to say the response from this call here, response dot, response, not response dot, because we are accessing this. So response dot ID. Okay, yeah. Mark that as a weight. Yeah, come on, that's very useless that I couldn't even remember that's how to do that. Yeah, so since we mark that as our weight, so it's no longer returning a future. So if this is waiting for the future, so the return type will not be kind of like have a future of type, but it's going to be a map string. So if you remove that, we're going to return a future of map string. So we just want to return just map data type, and then we can be able to access this from it, and then we could actually display the card response. So I could just say print card response to save this and try clicking on the add card. But before we do that, we need to complete all this stuff we have done so far. Yeah, let's try. Let's give this a try. So the card number, so we're going to use a test card from Stripe. So they usually provided a test card. So let me find a test card that we're going to use. Here's the test card we're going to be using. So we could get something from this URL. Yeah, so we could just use this as our card. So the card will be 424 424. Okay, 42 42. Yeah. 42 for okay. 42 42 42 42 42. Okay, that's all. Card holder name. Let's give it the name of Kevin. That's all. Kevin. And expiring months can be anything. So expiring months in the future. So it should be, yeah, the year should be 34. And CVC could be anything, any CVC that we want. And once we have that, so let's go ahead and click on send. So I'll just tap this and let's wait. So we received an issue. Type string is not a subtype of int. Okay. Okay, yeah. So we casted that and that's got so we can convert that to 2. So convert that to an integer. So we could do that this way. So we say int dot pass and do the same for this. So int dot pass let's try doing this again. Okay, we received a null shake using a null value. Stripe card URL. This is not actually null, so why is it saying there's a null value on it? Yeah, let's see. Okay, let's restart this. So you're going to use the card number here. So that should be 42, 42, 42, 42, 42, 42. I think it would be better if you had code this number, sir. But always make sure you don't forget whenever I had code something. So have Kelvin and okay, 11 in the future, 34, CVC. And next we're going to tap on send, apply. Okay, looks like that worked. Let me see, ID, cause okay. Looks like the rest of the stuff worked, but the payment method issue didn't work. So we have Stripe. We could actually check this on our back end and see if this actually worked. So this is our Stripe dashboard. Head over to customers and we could see that okay, so this went ahead and created multiple customers for us and didn't update it. So let's delete all this stuff. So let's wait for this to delete first. And I think next up we need to check. So back end we are passing the customer ID, which is this, yeah. So we passed in a customer ID and we passed in a number, expiring month, expiring year, and CVC, which we destructured every single one of them. So we have an if statement here, not an if statement, a print statement. Okay, not a print, so it should be console.log. So console.log, and we're going to log request.body whenever there's a request to this, and we are going to check to see if something was passed in to it. So we'll be watching over this and we'll be looking at over this to see if something was actually passed. So let's go back here again and check. So we have create Stripe customer card, which is going to call these functions. Yeah, we're going to remove these ones for now. Let's remove that. I'm going to call it final URL.pass. Okay, Stripe create card URL, which we have here, create card customer card. And we are sending this to the back end. Okay. JSON body.decode, we are decoding the JSON body. Okay, so this is for the creating the card. Let's go for the creating the customer. So I've Stripe create customer. Okay, we are using Stripe create customer URL. Okay, and over there, we are passing this over to the back end. Get user email. Looks like that wasn't created. Get user email wasn't provided. Get username wasn't provided. I think we just go ahead and have poster. So let's say Kevin at gmail.com. That's the user, and then the user okay, this should be the user email. And then we could just remove this. So this will be the username, Ken Ben. Let's try this. Okay, let's try again. And also I could just print this out, use a console.log. Let's say console.log. There we go. Tap on this again. Okay, let's check the back and Stripe. So refresh this, and it created a new user, but it kind of like omits the user's details, which is not what we are looking for. So here's the customer, the URL. Let's head over to our server. And inside our server, the request body is actually empty for both the create customer and again the request.body. So for some reason, it's not actually sending the request. It's not work. Let's see what is inside the request, everything about the request. And yeah. Okay. Body, so you are a headers type. Okay, application.json, the body json.decode, encode, so we encoded this as a JSON. While also over here we did the same for this stripe. So the endpoint is being reached, but it's not receiving any body parameter. So we have body json.encode. Okay, we encoded this object inside our JSON, the description. Okay, email, name. Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to restart our app completely. There we go. So we have incoming message, which is the request we are reaching out, and inside the request it should have a body. So the path create customer is actually being empty body is being sent to it. That's strange. Shouldn't. Come on. I've called car add new card. Create Stripe customer. Which I have there. Okay, create Stripe customer. We are waiting on that. So this is create Stripe customer. So these are body. So we finally removed all the customers that we have here. Try adding the customers again from our server. Just right up here. So this time around, we just want to get hold of the body, the request.body. Choose this request.body because we're accessing everything from it. So let's try this again. Yeah. And it still creates the customer body, but we are having a problem that we still need to fix. That is creating the customer with an empty name and URL. So if we change this to a test, so I'm currently trying to hard code everything. Could have gone through that this way. Let's code again. We have error invalid email address. So we have a user created because we had coded the details to it. That worked, but we have an issue that we need to fix. We are almost out of time for our stream. Let me see, because this user was created right now because we had coded all those details to it. That's why it has a name, email, and yeah, a name and an email, but that's not what we want to do. But on our own end, we basically want to actually pass something through pass a request to this, and let me see. Let's try this. So I'm going to comment this one out and try using the one we just copied over and change some stuff we need on it. One being what we are having here so far. Let's copy that. So we have JSON encode. Okay. And okay, still creating that using the previous hard-coded name that we gave to it. So let's remove the hard-coded stuff and revert back to okay. And again, there we go. So it's still giving us a null value. Okay guys, I think we have to call it a day here and see how to solve this issue tomorrow in our next stream, because we really need to complete this so I could actually be able to finish this screens up and know we are done with this, and then to be kind of like wrapping most of the stuff up, completing most of the changes that we need to do. But right now we are kind of like currently stuck here because we are trying to implement this with a stripe features, but that's not working, and it's not kind of like really giving us a tough time. So yeah, let's look at this. I will go through it and see what changes that we need to do, and in our next stream we could just talk about that and finish this up. Okay guys, so it looks like we have to try one more time using Daro. HTTP clients, another package, flutter package, and let's see if that will work for us. If not, then we can continue tomorrow. Let's see, dev. Just want to give this one more try. Let's say Daro. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The installation. Okay, let's go over here. Flutter pub add. So we just added that. So let's go ahead and make use of this. I think it's straightforward because I've used it previously on a project. Just basically import that and then just call dio.post. So for the post method, HTTP method, so that should be dio.post, and I will post it. Okay. Yes. First of all, import that package. So import that right over here. Yeah, so we need to use that. So we need to test, which one do we need to test first? So we need to test this. Yeah. So right up here, we could just, for testing purposes, I'm going to say declare, okay. Okay, yeah, there we go. So we are not using the get method, we are just using the post method, and inside the post method we are going to pass in the URL that we have been creating. Bring this up, yeah, move that up above there, and yeah, so say dot post and URL and data. Okay, the path has to be a string, so we don't need to create a new URL for that. Since that has to be a string, so we just copy this path out and then comment this to pass the string to it, and then it says data, and inside the data we could just get hold of the whole stuff we did here, copy those, and we could just go ahead and say this for now. Okay, so let's try this. Yeah. Come on. Okay, response body. Okay, so the response is basically dynamic. So our response.data, Okay, let's try that. Tap on this again. Okay, I see. So we're requesting for a map string right here. Okay, so I could just create a map. I could just say body, and then we'll have this as the value. Let's remove this, just undo the code, and basically return. Okay, let's see. Still kind of like giving me no values. Description is no, email is no. While we are actually sending stuff back to the back end. Okay. Just basically this. Okay, guys, looks like we are still getting the same issues. I said I think we need. Wait a second. Did we receive anything? Let's try that one more time again. Yeah, if you still receive the same error, we just push it over to tomorrow. Still not forwarding our data to the back end, still receiving an empty body at the back end. So something is strange and something is going wrong somewhere, and I'll need to look into that. Yeah, so we continue tomorrow. Yeah, guys, thank you for joining. Have a nice day, everyone. See you guys.